welcome to another episode of Steph on Skills powered by Enginuity. Now, we have had a plethora of brilliant guests. I've got another one for you today. Katy Davies, who is, well, you've got about 20 hats that you wear, one of which is the boss of a manufacturing company. I want to talk about that. And you set up this brilliant organisation called Citizen Hub, which I want to talk to you about too. But let's start with the boss of the company. What is it?
Yep, so managing director of a small but rapidly growing SME called Cap Air Systems. We're based in St Ives, Cambridgeshire.
Yeah.
So we employ about 20 people. Turnover's growing massively. We make PCBs, so printed circuit boards, cable assemblies, wiring harnesses, and then we'll assemble all of that for our customers. So right on the edge of Cambridge. So a lot of our customers are doing awesome like IoT solutions to stuff.
What's that?
Internet of Things
Right.
solutions. So one of our customers, for instance, does kind of heating and cooling controls, but it needs, of course, the hardware to make that translate into reality. So yeah, growing really quickly, doing a lot of export. Probably about 80% of our revenue is exported to the
which
Middle East.
countries? Middle East,
right?
right.
Yeah, predominantly Dubai. So it's really cool, and it's a great team.
Yeah.
We've got the owner's kind of mid-60s, looking to sort of think about his succession planning. I've known him for like 20 years. My background's
Could it be
been,
you? Could it be
well,
you?
this is it. Yeah, so he sort of came along and was like, I don't want to stop, but I kind of need to slow down a bit. Do you want to come in? So yeah,
That's exciting.
we're now just making sure that he's busier than he ever has been, which is great.
And so what type of jobs are there in your business then? What are people doing?
Yeah, we've got a massive range. So we've got people doing the sort of more design technical stuff.
Yeah.
So looking at kind of constantly looking at the way that things are designed for manufacture to make sure that they can be serviced easily. So like control boxes or whatever it is can be kind of access to service and maintain and to be easy to manufacture in the first place. And then we've got a load of guys that are experts in like cable assemblies, wiring harnesses, making sure that whatever they're making is top quality, because the crimps and the connections on the end need to be spot on to be able to do whatever they need to do. Then we've got this amazing crew of like ladies, actually all female crew, doing PCB like hand soldering and custom stuff. So for people's prototypes or custom amendments to standard boards, they just take these tiny grain of sand components and just and make soldering
a grain of sand
easy.
Is the size of it?
It's tiny. Some of them are really tiny. Yeah.
Because do you know what? I love a bit of soldering. I know that sounds really tragic, but I do
It's
love,
not.
like, it's really therapeutic, isn't it?
It is therapeutic. I'm terrible at it.
But on a grain of sand size.
Well, yeah. Some of the components are just ridiculously small.
that's-
Yeah, and they make it look easy. I'm terrible. I'm banned from soldering because I'm a threat to
Well, I probably would be.
myself and others.
But it's like, it's interesting because that, and I want to get onto all your other stuff, but just from that sounds quite creative as well, in the sense of, you know, it's technical, but also you're kind of making a masterpiece, aren't you, in what you're doing?
Absolutely. And you've got, you know, you've always got the back of the mind. Like, I'm really lucky that the team are just great, and they are so like focused on making sure that the whatever they produce is brilliant for the customer and their end customer. It's wonderful, that focus on like the quality side of things. But yeah, they love doing it, and they love if they've got like a tricky customization to make, for instance. You know, we've got good relationships with our customers where if the guys look at the drawings, they might suggest alternative ways of doing it. But they love that, that kind of creative angle of actually, you wanted me to do this, but it might interfere with this component here. I could do it this way, and they're just fabulous.
And then they make the components, but we'll see the end result of whatever it is your client's doing with it, and that's exciting
cool.
too.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
How did you get into it then?
Oh, what, into this specific business or the sector as a whole?
The sector as a whole. Give us your mini life story.
Oh, okay. Potted history. So without booing too hard, I'm an accountant by background. So I came straight out of uni, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Joined Deloitte as an accountant, and it was great actually, because you're out seeing different clients of all shapes, sizes.
Yeah, because Deloitte is just for people who don't know, it's a big consultancy firm, and they do the accounting for lots of different businesses.
Absolutely.
And things like that.
So broadly speaking, it's sort of split into three parts. There's a tax audit and kind of private tax part of it. But the bit of the business I was in Cambridge was kind of like almost like a small accountancy practice within the giant corporate. So we'd be doing all sorts from advising. Well, all of our clients were owner managed, so we'd be doing things from like advising owners on, you know, tax impacts of doing X, Y, or Z. But you were always dealing with the owners and the people leading the business, so you were getting involved in their sort of strategy and sort of feeling like an extended part of their team.
Learning about different businesses.
Exactly
then as well.
right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then spent a while there, and then moved into industry, and that's when I moved into kind of engineering, manufacturing. So went to join a large privately owned kind of conglomerate based in
Doing
Cambridge.
accounting for them.
Doing accounting, not proper accounting,
Yeah.
as they keep telling me. But so I had a range of roles, like,
Yeah.
but always dealing with projects and dealing with things that were coming up. So I had a range of job titles while I was there. But it was
Yeah.
brilliant. It's like massive kind of, I don't know what the turnover of the whole group would have been, but it was probably about $1 billion, one and a bit billion for
Yeah.
across the whole group.
And
And it was brilliant and loved it. Fell in love with what the guys were doing on the shop floor, like fixing aircraft and making them fly. It just blows my mind, continues to blow my mind.
Yeah, it
I remember
does.
taking my lunch down onto the shop floor and they'd be like, what are you doing? I was like, you're going to take the tail off the aircraft. I want to watch. And they're like, okay, you nutter.
Yeah.
It's going to take us like half an hour. And they do it all the time. So to them, it's just like, I'm just doing
Yeah.
that job today. And you're like, you're about to take something like massive part of the aircraft off, do some work, put it back on again, and it's still going to fly. I was like, my
Yeah.
brain is just blown.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just love it. I absolutely love it.
It's really tangible then as well, isn't it? If
Completely.
you're doing all the numbers side, but then to see what those
Yeah.
numbers make is.
Oh, exactly.
So
Yeah.
did you always like maths at school? Was that how did you?
Oh, no.
Like what was? Because it always interests me how much maths can be fun and all the sciencey stuff can be fun. But at school, loads of people are
Yeah.
either think
Yeah.
they're rubbish at it,
Yeah.
or are scared of it, or
Yeah,
you know, like that type of
absolutely.
thing.
And actually, you know, accountancy, well, there are lots of different specific fields within accountancy,
Yes.
broadly speaking. It's not actually that mathsy. In the world of Excel and stuff, you know, it's just making sure that everything looks right. You're able to do the analysis that you need to do and all of that stuff. So it's not like doing quadratic equations every day. You know,
which-
you
who uses them
Who
in,
uses exactly,
in
exactly.
practical day life? But,
But
yeah.
the bit for me, and my revelation when I was working at Marshall in Cambridge was like, there were so many, even accountants, there were so many accountants that almost like enjoy the maths side of it too much. And it's like, it doesn't mean anything unless you can unpack those numbers for the people that can affect some sort
Yeah.
of change to either make it better or do something different. And that's the bit I love, is a sort of interlink between the data and
Yeah.
humanity.
Yeah.
You know,
So then, so you've got this business.
Yeah.
You're running this business.
Yeah.
And then tell me about how Citizens Hub came about. Then, so
Okay.
was
Yes.
this from a skills need? Were you kind of seeing that
Yeah.
it was hard to fill the jobs you needed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got the opportunity. So I worked for that company in Cambridge for a while, and then got the opportunity to go and run an SME manufacturer in Suffolk.
Yeah.
So job before this one, and it was in rural Suffolk, large workforce, 120 people. And we were looking at kind of, you know, future talent pipelines and all this kind of stuff. And that's when the fear dawned on me that, like, you know, what young person knows what the world of manufacturing actually is?
Yeah.
Who else is knowing that you could take your sandwiches and watch someone take the tail off an aircraft in your work day? It's crazy. So we started doing a whole load of work with our local job centre around unpacking the sector for jobs that are, you know, perfect for different types of special educational need, for young people who don't necessarily know what they want to do, but giving them the opportunity to find that spark and find their love for whatever it is. Because it's not just the engineering roles or the sort of assembly roles or the machine operating roles. It's the
Yeah.
finance roles, the HR roles, whatever, you know, all those support functions to help the business kind of run. So started kind of doing some work around helping people get into employment. And for me, like, the penny just dropped that, like, manufacturing is just perfect for like all of the inclusive economy stuff, because you've got such a broad range of roles
Yeah.
and such brilliant pathways. So someone could come in, start working, you know, in a warehouse, just picking and packing, and kind of see some stuff that catches their attention. And, you know, before you know it, they're on an engineering apprenticeship, and, you know, they've found their passion.
Yeah.
So became really passionate about it. My local town is St Neots in Cambridgeshire, and a friend of mine who I was doing some work with on that kind of young person pipeline
Yes.
stuff, we just got really frustrated that you've got all these people in our local town, and it's geographically, it's almost encircled by industrial estates. It's like, you know, we've got people there like Bosch, Rexroth, ABB, really big name
Yeah.
manufacturers. They're all crying out for employees, really moaning from a business community standpoint that they can't find staff. And then you go out and see your friends. Oh, yeah, my kid can't find a job. It's a nightmare out there. And you think there must be a really simple connection here, because the work's there. How is that chasm existing that means that it's hard for people to actually access those businesses? So we sort of sat there and went, well, our local job centre, so St Neots is the largest town in Cambridgeshire. It doesn't have a job centre.
Right.
Nearest job centre is in Huntingdon. That's probably like a 10-minute train drive away.
Right.
20-minute, half an hour drive. So for people that are struggling anyway, you know, and if you're not in work, money's going to be a bit of a challenge potentially. it's just barrier after barrier. So we sort of thought, hey, this is ridiculous. We need almost like a, old school like labour exchange, like local people come to somewhere that is non-judgmental, a nice safe space where you might want to do other stuff as well, maybe like, cafe style, whatever, and just see what jobs are on offer. So we sort of had this like kernel of an idea, which just sort of, gathered a bit of pace, and before you know it, we've burst a thing called a citizen hub, and it was originally designed to be kind of economic outcome driven, so employment outcome driven, to try and just help people accelerate those pathways into kind of
so
local
basically
employment.
helping people work out what skills they've got to find a job that matches what they want to do and what skills they've got.
Yeah, so we kind of underestimated the skills angle attached to that, and it was we went to the combined authority, so Cambridgeshire and Peterborough combined authority, and just sort of played it out with them and said, look, is there something you can do to support this? And they sort of said, well, we don't really know, but actually we could pay you with a skills provider, and if you introduce the skills angle, I think that would be really helpful. So that was kind of iteration number one. So it was kind of basically it was us partnered with an independent training provider who paid the rent in exchange for being able to service their skills contract for the combined authority and train people in whatever course they had going on. And then as with all these things, you come and you think it's going to be really simple, and then it starts to unpack a bit. So we ended up with people coming in doing that sort of skills conversation around like, well, actually sort of like careers advice, where are you at? Where do you want to be? Are there gaps for you getting there? Or is it just that you need to boost your confidence, or you might just need your CV to have a dust off, or you just aren't aware of what those local opportunities are, which is my frustration, because I think as a sector we're really bad.
That's the biggest problem.
It's huge.
Not knowing what's out there.
No, and yeah, I think, we've got loads of employers that are doing things, but it's kind of following the same old patterns, which clearly aren't working because the world has changed and those interfaces have changed massively. So what started out as just a simple thought of, if we invented a job centre today, what would you make it look like? And this is no offence to people that work in job centres because they're brilliant. Yeah. But they're
they don't have the best reputation these days.
No, they don't.
I know it's fine to say that because, I've said it a lot as well on broadcasts about how, and they would say that themselves. There's lots of people who work in them who are not satisfied because they're not able to help people in the way they want.
Exactly right. So roll forward kind of nearly 2 years now we've been going. We're now partnered with our local job centre, so they send a work coach over to us. They're wonderful human beings, they're lovely, and they really do care about their customers, but they get something like 12 minutes to have a conversation with each of them. That's not going to help people find a job. They're just not that, it cuts off there. Yeah. So anyway, going back to the Citizen Hub, it kind of ended up like, spiralling as these things do. And
it's a physical place.
It's a physical place. So it used to be a cafe.
Yeah.
Originally, it was the sort of electrical connection for the town, which is just really cool. So it's this very funky sort of Art Deco-esque building. Nice. Beautiful parquet floors, big windows.
Nothing like a job centre.
About as opposite to a job centre as you can get. Yeah, which is great. And then through the probably 70s and 80s, I think, ironically, it was a job centre. So it's great. So for some of the job centre guys and our local DWP director, they started their careers there in St Neots Job Centre. So it's great that it's kind of come full circle. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't have a job centre there for 22 years. So it's, in that meantime, it's been a cafe, it's been a bar, it's been a place where people have got really positive and very low-key kind of interactions with it. So it hasn't got that stigma built around it. We don't... people still get nervous about coming in because it's a big step to say, actually, I want to change job, get a new job, start my employment journey, learn a skill, whatever. But at least they're not going into a place where they feel like it's sort of charged with judgment or charged with some sort of agenda. So it's very light and warm. Yes. And so what tell us how many people are you kind of dealing with and what happens? Say I rock up to the Citizens Hub. You're always welcome. Thank you. What would happen when I walked in? How does it work? Yeah, so we're now at a point where we're partnered with various local kind of awesome specialist organisations. So myself and my co-founder are like, we're the kind of energisers, the business connectors, that kind of thing. We are not specialists in employability skills delivery. There are other people that are way better, served doing that. So we've got this partnership of an organisation called Inspire to Ignite, who specialise in young people who are NEET, so not in education, employment or training, 16 to 24-year-olds. So they're great at kind of doing the careers advice bit, but then also getting young people kind of motivated or access to kind of experiences and things to just kind of, build their confidence and their sort of social capital. We've got our 2 local FE colleges. So the Combined Authority did a review a few years ago now, which said that St Neots was a complete FE cold spot. There isn't any direct provision there.
Yeah.
There's some nearby, and we've got Bedford College Group and Cambridge Regional College, who are great and massive institutions, but they're now starting to bring stuff into St Neots and delivering out of the hub to just make those connections.
Ah, good.
So, so that's cool. We've then got a debt advice to charity, so money advice St Neots. So again, we're constantly in a sort of co-design phase with our partners and with our users. So what are the trends that we're seeing? And they were probably our first partner, because immediately we were seeing people coming in with issues, mental health issues or whatever it was, and the root was money. We've got those guys.
So it's a bit of a one-stop shop then for all your needs.
Trying to be. Somebody said to us once during a co-design session, they said, this space needs to be like the Harry Potter room of requirements. Like, you don't know what you need until you need it, which is beautiful. But that's quite hard to design.
And then, how do you get? How do people find out about it then?
So we've got kind of social media as our main kind of.
And is there a lot of kind of interface online as well?
Yeah, there is. So we've got a website which is kind of the shop front, to just summarise, because it is there's a lot going on in there, so it can look a bit complex.
Yeah.
And it's very cool. It's just a place where you can go and have a cup of tea and a butty, it's sort of cafe-esque, and it's very cool. So again, if you're not sure, you just want to try the space, you might go to an event that someone's put on there. So like they have jazz nights, vinyl nights, R&B club, all this kind of stuff. Again, to just
R&B club by night, debt advice by day.
We have a pop-up pub. We have the Citizen pub, which is nice. We're just trying to make sure the space remains destigmatized.
Yeah.
But if people are nervous about going in there, they can go in with their mates for a beer or something, and then pop back on, say, a Thursday for some debt advice.
The interesting thing about this is it's a really... it feels like actually it's an old school way of solving the problem, isn't it? It's literally just bring people together.
Oh, massively.
It's not like this kind of high tech version.
No.
It's very much on the what's missing in communities now is a community place where I keep saying this. I've got a 5-year-old, right? And I keep banging on about that phrase about, it takes a village.
Takes a village.
To bring up a child. I so feel like that. But and it's that, isn't it? It's like it takes a village to help you get a job and a career and everything else.
So right. I think it was Fiona McGarry, who's like, queen of Enginuity and just brilliant human being. She said a little while back that invariably, if you've got a young person looking for work, it's their nan's, dog walkers, cousins, aunt or something that ends up being that connection. And so often with work experience, with even employment, whatever it is, it's the community that steps up and fills that gap. So even when we've got the job centre coming in, we wrap around that community to make sure that those people coming in to have that 12-minute very short conversation around like benefits and well-being, while they're there they can have a conversation around careers with one of the colleges that are doing careers advice, or have a look at some skills provision that's going on, to just make it a more proactive and a bit more sort of constructive experience, and just coming in, do your 12-minute chat and then go home again. And
how are you seeing that impact the area and impact employers? Are you seeing that it is helping?
But we've had probably over 1,000 people being direct customers or service users of the hub in the last 12 months. And that's been a massively broad range, and it's really fun looking at the averages because you get so many extremes. So for instance, for a while our average age of a user was like 38, but I don't know how many 38-year-olds we've had. We've had a lot of kind of midlife people who maybe came out of the workforce during COVID, looking to get back or looking to do something different, or whatever it is, and then a lot of young people. So it's really interesting seeing those trends. So we're seeing I think manufacturing sector have been a really strong kind of supporter, partly because it was my jam. But actually getting young people to be aware of what those opportunities look like, getting them into work experience opportunities. We're trying to educate those employers and support those employers around what work experience could be. So it's not just have 25 young people for a week in June. It could just be do an hour, or just some job shadowing. Don't worry about putting anything special. What is a typical day in the life of you and your workplace? To just try and unpack it and build those links a bit.
Do you think it can be, because obviously this is brilliant for Cambridgeshire and it plays to everything I love in terms of what you're doing. How do we replicate that? How is it Is
Yeah.
it easy to replicate?
So,
And how much? Because this is very much like your baby as well, isn't it? So you've probably had to give up a lot of your time to do all this, and you mentioned others you're working with.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we make this like a national
So
thing?
this is our dream, and that we're so conscious of that, because so often you get like ideas that will have an impact in a local community, but it can't go beyond the sort of sphere of influence of those people.
Yeah.
So we're really conscious. So myself and my co-director, he's in there every day. He definitely takes the brunt of it. I get to go to manufacturing land during the day, so I'm immensely grateful to Alex for all of the time that he spends. So we are working with some guys down in Wimbledon to do hub number 2.
Right, brilliant.
Which is really, really exciting, because we're trying to distill almost like the playbook, like what is the secret sauce of it. So what are the learnings that we've had to make sure we don't lose all of those as we've gone on, like what are the battle scars that we've got, and what are those key ingredients, because we couldn't go and do a citizen hub anywhere else, because we don't have that local context and we're not that community.
Yes, interesting.
But how can we mentor and support and kind of give somebody a leg up somewhere else in a different community to make sure that they can establish one?
How did you pick Wimbledon?
They came to us.
Right.
Yeah, so this amazing chap called Xavier Wiggins, who is part of Don's local action group, so part of the football club. Football club in Wimbledon is community owned.
Yes,
and
of course
did
it is.
an amazing kind of community fundraise to fund the stadium.
Football clubs is not a bad shout as a link.
I know.
Because I'm from the northeast and I'm a Middlesbrough fan for my sins. And, I work with the charity a lot. They're charitable arm in terms of doing stuff. But that's another way in, actually, because they've all got all the dough.
They've got all the dough. And for us, the space needs to be multifunctional.
Yes.
From taking the pressure off the finances standpoint, it needs to be multifunctional so that you can maximise your revenue streams. But we found a brilliant spot in Wimbledon, which is a nightclub.
Oh, wow.
Super destigmatised space, empty during the day, works for the nightclub operator.
Yes.
So it's really cool. But one of the
Is
thoughts
it going to
that we
be
did
sticky
have,
floors when you go in?
we
though?
hope not. No. It's very nice, and they've just kind of had a spruce up, so it looks really cool, actually, really cool. And there's some stuff we can do around kind of soft furnishing type things to kind of make it look a little bit less clubby in the day.
So the plan, which I love the sound of this, I could see it like as a kind of essentially it's like a franchise, isn't
Completely.
it? Opening up, and what have you learned though? So like coming back to while we all wait for these brilliant citizen hubs to happen all over the country, I'm now sat here going, "Ooh, this would work with loads of things I'm doing in the northeast."
Yes.
What have you learned about how we, how we solve the skills problem from all of this? Like what do we need to do? That's what this is all about. The reason this podcast, why we started this podcast in the first place is I've worked for a long time with Enginuity. For years, we keep going on about how brilliant the industry is and getting more people in. But there's still that skills gap.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing for me is just getting on and doing something about it. A bit like you starting the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, we can all moan about the skills gap and all of that stuff. Even that phrase just drives me slightly crazy, because it tends to just kind of blur over what is a really complex situation.
It's like Brexit. I absolutely hate the term Brexit. I know. And then it came in, and I remember when it first came in, I was like, I'm not going to use it on air. 2 months later, Brexit has happened. But you're right. Skills gap is the same. It's that kind of
absolutely.
Doesn't mean anything,
so to me, and what I've kind of seen through the last few years, kind of running manufacturers, is I think if a broad sense, you can unpack that skills gap bit into 2 chunks. Yeah, there is the skillsy angle, but there's just a massive kind of I think the phrase has been out before, a passion gap, like just getting connections between what is available in the world of work and what people are capable of doing. So, no sector, I think, is really nailing how great it is to work there. There's just this void, and you think, poor young people or anybody looking at the world of work cold now, how do you pick where to go?
Yeah, because companies are often, it's particularly British owned and run companies, are very modest.
Yeah.
When I work with American companies, they are so in your face and like, this is the best place in the world to work. And British companies are like, well, come on in, have a look around.
It's amazing.
And yet there's some really incredible places. I mean, I think in my time on the BBC, when I used to go around and broadcast from different companies, I think I visited something like 500, and the majority of them were in the engineering engineering, kind of construction, that type of sector, because they were the places open at 8 o'clock in the morning when I was on telly. But and they were so fun.
Yeah.
And it's like but they were often quite rubbish at
Terrible.
telling people how fun they were to work, because
Absolutely.
and I think that's part of it. So there might be people listening to this who are thinking, hang on, this hub would work for me. Are you open to offers?
Absolutely. So we're really lucky. We've got, well, I think we've had quite a few people sort of see the potential or see what it could do.
Yeah.
And I think, what we've kind of found is that you need those people. Somebody once called it the angry lovers. So like the people that
you love your passion gaps, your angry lovers.
I love a little catchphrase. But those people that are your local people that love their community and are angry enough to do something about it, rather than somebody should do something about that, or looking to like the councils or the combined authorities to do it. They'll help, but it's got to come from the community, or it's just going to be an extension of what already exists, which we know isn't quite working. So I would say, absolutely get in touch. We're looking at that playbook, and we're looking at kind of how we can just distill some of that kind of magic sauce that we've had in St Neots and be able to just support other people in their local communities build what that community needs their hub to be. So again, like Wimbledon's probably not going to be manufacturing heavy, but you can take some of the other sector stuff and apply it there. They've got loads of creative roles locally, construction, but actually, the sort of premise is not dissimilar. So get in touch.
I feel totally empowered by this as well. I'm like, right, I'm going to have a chat with you offline about what we can do in the North East.
Let's take the North East. Yeah.
Also, the other thing I've learnt from this, I never knew that that's how you pronounce the area. How did you say it? I thought it was St Neots. Is it?
St Neots.
St Neots. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. It's spelled Neotts, is it?
Just one T.
Just one T.
And then in Cornwall, there's a St Neot.
Right. There we are.
Similar but different. There you go.
Thank you for the lesson in every area. And the passion gap and angry... What was the other one?
Angry lovers.
Angry lovers.
There you go.
Sounds like a Jilly Cooper novel, actually, doesn't it?
Just a little bit. God. Maybe.
Rivals did very well. So, right, Katy, I should let you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And that's it from us on Steph Unskilled, another cracking episode for you. Don't forget, if you are enjoying these, leave us a review wherever you watch and listen to your podcast. It's watch now. Everything's watch, isn't it? Leave us a review. Make sure you follow so you don't miss any of the other episodes too. As soon as they come out, you will get them. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.